Hey, peace and assalamu alaikum, sisters. Hey, it's almost time for the next women's halaqa. I'm sorry, the women's studies, because as you well know, we have one meeting is specifically for women's studies from an Islamic perspective, and then the other is like basic Islamic stuff. So the last one we had on women's study, the last and the first one was like 3 weeks ago. I cannot believe it's been that long. But yes, it was 3 weeks ago. And for anybody who was not there, who may be seeing this video, I wanted the link that I sent to y'all to watch if you could, or to listen to if you could, was of Dawud Adib's lecture from way back in the 90s. But it's titled Problems Facing Muslim. I cannot talk this morning. Problems Facing Muslim Women. And in that lecture, he read from a book that he did not give the title of, but he read from a book that was written by a non-Muslim woman. And he read, I think it was the epilogue that she had written in her book that he really dug. And we really dug when I read it to y'all. And I promised that I would make a video just to like put on YouTube for other people to watch, and also for you to be able to present to whoever you wanted to present it to. Because I think it's extremely important. It's not just for men, but it's for women also, for us to kind of reflect upon what is it that we want. Or sometimes, anybody, you can't really articulate what it is you want. You just know what you're feeling when you at least from your perspective, are being mistreated and blah, blah, blah. And so this is good for women, I think. Not just for us to reflect, but for us to have our significant other or people who, we think it would benefit for us and for them, so they can listen to it and sort of reflect upon themselves, what they're doing too. Let me push this back a little bit because I'm kind of close to this steering wheel. And so anyway, without me continuing to very badly explain myself, I'm going to go on ahead and read from this. Hold on, I'm sorry. So today is November 9th. So it's Tuesday the 9th. Let me think. I guess the 14th is the next Zoom meeting that we will be having, all Muslim women. Again, for those of y'all who were there, we kind of got away from the itinerary or the syllabus. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about Khadija bin Khuwailid, who was the first wife of the Prophet Muhammad, and talk about her, how fierce she was, like fierce as in dope. But we're going to talk about her. We're going to see what else that we did not touch on. So yeah, basically we're going to talk about her. We're going to go over certain surah and ayah in the Quran that talks about women and the status of women within Islam. And I'm thinking I may read a teensy bit from this book. This book, if I didn't already say, is so dope. I got this book. I bought this back in 1998. Yes, 1998, down at Taha's bookstore, when it used to be not on Branford Place, but that little street around the corner. Is that New Street? I don't remember what street it is, but when it used to be down there, now of course it's on Washington Street. It has been for many years. But I got this from Taha's back in 1998. I have not seen this book anywhere else. I haven't gone to Taha's in a really, really long time, and it was sporadic at best. But I never saw it there again. I've looked it up online. I can't find it. So since it's so hard to get, I will probably read some things from it. And I'm thinking maybe throughout our life on Zoom together doing women's studies, I'll just keep reading from it until it's done, inshallah. And maybe I'll read it here on YouTube. Who knows? So, without further ado, getting back to this book that Dawud Adib, and I will put the link to that video for anybody in the description bar, inshallah. So, this is the epilogue to her book, and I don't think the name of the book was "What Do Women Want?" I think the title for that epilogue is "What Do Women Want?" But check it out if you want. So, what do women want? Don't criticize me in front of other people, even when I make mistakes or displease you. When you belittle me to make yourself look good at my expense, I feel embarrassed and resentful, but powerless to strike back. Think about how you feel when you hear others berate their partners in public. Aren't you uncomfortable? Please save your negative remarks until we're alone. I'll be better able then to hear you without defensiveness. When we see things differently, please do not devalue my perceptions. Recognize that one of us does not have to be right while the other is wrong. Neither do we have to struggle until we come to an agreement. When we do that, I tend to give in, but I resent you later. Join me in trying to say cheerfully, we just see it differently. If I am upset and cry or lose control of my emotions, allow me those feelings. Try to get over your discomfort with them. They are mine, and I will get over them if you allow me the time to do so. I suffer less when I feel free to let them run their natural course than if I feel pressure to suppress them, so you will not be displeased. Recognize that I am sensitive to the fact that your involvement in the world earns you more status and recognition than I get. I will feel less envy and more pride if you were more mindful that my efforts to free you from the domestic cares has enabled you to devote yourself more freely to your life's work. I like it when you acknowledge publicly that I deserve credit too. When I strive for achievements beyond our home, I need your encouragement to grow. You can reassure by supporting my freedom, even if it means less time to spend on the things that make your life comfortable, and by showing your delight even when my successes overshadow yours. I need quality time with you. I know your job is demanding, but if you gave the best of your energy and all of your patience to a job, there's little left for me when we're together. Please make an effort to plan time for just us. Hours when the telephone does not ring, when you're not trying to wind down after a hard day, when you don't feel like kicking the dog because of someone else at whom you are angry. Please don't do things over me. I may stumble as I gain skills in many of the things I learn to do. I will learn faster if you let me learn mistakes without you telling me how stupid I am or how much better you would have done it. Most of the things you do over will be forgotten in a few years anyway, but my confidence will recover more slowly. And if you cannot allow me to fail, you are not letting me learn to succeed. Don't give me mixed messages about my sexuality. I am more uncertain about it than you are. I have been raised to believe that men would not respect me if I were openly sexy. I may be confused when I see you attracted to subversive women, yet critical of me if I seem provocative. Don't keep me on a pedestal. Trust me enough to be open with you about sex. Your caring example will help me overcome my reluctance to do the same. Don't toss the ball and then find fault with me in the way I field it. Criticism coming from you, who are so important to me, erodes my self-esteem and leaves me feeling that I can't do anything well. You will see how much more self-confident and productive I am when we both recognize my right to do my task my way. If I am rushed and distracted, Try not to imperfect my actions as rejection or lack of caring. At times, there are pressures that I don't welcome either. When you put other priorities ahead of me, I try to tell myself that you have a reason to do so, that it doesn't mean you don't care for me. Two adults don't need constant reassurance of each other's commitment and devotion. Be careful to say what you mean. Please don't make outrageous statements that hurt and expect me to forget them, or make huge promises that you never carry out. I take seriously your order to get off my back when you're angry, and I look for the flowers you promise to send when you are affectionate. I'm still telling myself that people reveal the truth when they are angry, and that unkept promises show insincerity. Even when I try to avoid it, I feel a distancing from these hurts. A coldness creeps into the way that I relate to you. And that was the end of that. I'm sorry for interjecting little expressions or whatever. But this hits so many points for so many women. Now, of course, it's not for all women. All couples don't have, these sorts of issues where their men, women's men may belittle them, or vice versa. Because there's a lot of vice versa out there too, let me tell you. But so it's not for everyone, but it's certainly the points she makes are certainly ones that I think are very common and that deserve some sort of reflection. And hopefully this video will offer a sort of segue into couples talking about things, maybe. Yeah. So y'all let me know, whatever, if this video helps you, if it makes sense. Do you find fault with it? Do you think she's like tripping? Some things, there were a couple of things I wanted to speak on in it, but I don't remember what they are now. And I really don't want to make the video really long. But again, she hit some points. And I could definitely relate to some of these things from my past lives. With especially when I was really young, my first husband, my second husband too. But my husbands were a lot older than me. I don't know what it is about the old brothers I was into. But my first husband, like I've said in past videos, I was really young. I was in my still early 20s. He was in his early 40s. And we had businesses together and stuff like that. But I certainly can relate to some of the things. Like, it just seemed like I could never do anything right. You know what I mean? And I actually used to play this lecture in our restaurant like all the time, hoping that he would like catch hints, but he just never did. Or at least, it didn't appear that he did. And we actually know brother Dawud Adib, and I had to kind of call him in one time. Not call him in, but something that was going on between my ex-husband and I. And the brother Dawud came in, and I asked him about it. And because I wanted some, unfortunately, sisters, and I would say to women who do this, inshallah, try to find your voice, because I would not be able to. Oftentimes we cannot talk to our husbands, and I'm talking in general, but I'm talking about Muslims specifically right now. It's really hard to talk to our husbands sometimes, or a lot of times, because they just don't want to hear you. They have grabbed hold to this idea of like you're just a woman type thing. That is not Islam, and it's for sure it's not the Sunnah. But they have this type of attitude, and so they'll only listen to the imam. Or I used to have to take my husband to the imam so much, considering like we were a couple. To me, we should have been able to talk about things, but it just wasn't possible. So I would have to take him to the Musalla, you know what I'm saying? And deal with things. And so back to brother Dawud, he came into the restaurant to get some food, and I already knew him before I got married. And like we used to sit and talk because I used to work at this health store, blah, 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 blah. So we just used to sit there and kick it. And so I asked him the question, and for sure he answered it, and it was proper Islamically. But I needed him to say it for my husband to hear it. And so I remember him saying, he kind of chuckled, he was like, Muta, people call me Muta that like know me for like years. So he's like, Muta, they would think you don't know nothing, don't they? Or something like that. And I was just like, because I don't know. But because my point for bringing up about how women are with their husbands and stuff like that, because I did not have a voice, I just didn't. I had come into that particular ummah because I used to be Ansar, part of the Ansar Halaqa community, and so the ummah there in East Orange, they in Newark and wherever, they really used to like shun us. I got my little stuff to say about that, but suffice to say, they trying to do what we were doing back in the day now, but so I had really just come into that community, and I had never been married before, and I really started taking on this, like, and just the dynamic that was going on in my relationship, me just being young and stuff. I didn't have a voice, and or I didn't use my voice, I should say. And so I just wouldn't say things. Like, he would say stuff to me all the time. Like, I could find, I always knew when he'd be out there in them streets talking to them brothers, because he would come home and he'd just be talking all this stuff, and I'd be like, that is not even Islam. But I would be scared to say something because it would cause conflict, and you know, he'd get angry, he'd be like, ah, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, and you know, just all this kind of stuff he would say. And so I really wouldn't say anything, and then I just knew when he'd be talking to somebody else because he didn't actually know the deen. And that's, wallahi, I'm not saying that disrespectfully. Most people don't know the deen who've been Muslim for a long time. And so, you know, folks just tend to go on word of mouth. But in doing that, you don't know what you're talking about. It just becomes like the trend, the going thing, or I always say it seems like people like learn the deen for like battle practice, like you're a battle Muslim, a battle rapper type thing, and so they learn these ayat or these you know, hadith or whatever, just so they waiting for somebody to come for them so they can like shut them down and be like, yeah, you know what I mean? But in my opinion, that's not really learning Islam. So I say that to say, my ex, he would come home and he'd just be talking all this stuff, and he just wanted so much from me, I felt. And because I would be like, y'all not, let me tell you, all of you who are from around the way, y'all know what I'm talking about, because y'all used to see me up in that piece pregnant, right? Co-sign me on this, people won't think I'm tripping. I used to be up in that piece pregnant throughout my entire pregnancy. I dropped that load. Like 3 weeks later, I'm back in there flipping burgers and all that kind of stuff. Trying to be what I thought was like a proper Muslim wife, supporting my husband and my black husband and all this kind of thing. Like so many pressures that we as women take on. But again, Islam is a liberation of women. Not this BS that we be running around here calling ourselves practicing. And that's the whole point of why I really want to, what I decided, and alhamdulillah, you know, I went to Allah about it first. And then it was brought to fruition, even though it's really small right now. But that's why I really wanted to put forth these women's studies groups, so that we will understand from an Islamic perspective what Allah wants from us, what Allah demands from us, what Allah gives us the privilege of deciding for ourselves, you know, what we want for ourselves. But we have to know the deen in order to be liberated. We can't just expect other people to tell us the proper way of being. And why would we want to? We're going to be judged on what we know, what we've learned. And we have privileges that no other ummah in the past, and many ummas now around the world, privileges that they do not have, in that we can find information very easily, very readily. We have the Quran in all kinds of languages. We have, tafsir. We just have so many ways of freeing ourselves. Allah gave us the tools. It's up to us to use the tools. And so it bothers me, and I understand where sisters come from, but again, it's because of our own ignorance, usually, that we bring on ourselves. But I understand how a lot of women may look at the deen and be like, I don't want none of that no more because they like this and they like that, and brothers are like this and brothers are like that. Listen, taking shahada don't mean you magically change overnight. We have to change ourselves, and then Allah helps us. If we're trying to, make things, Allah meets us. We take one step towards Allah, Allah takes 10 steps towards us. But we can't just sit on our hind parts and be like, oh, it's supposed to be like this because I took shahada, because I cover my face, because I do this and do that. You know what I mean? That just ain't how it works. Allah is not like this poof magic. That's not how it works. Allah is all about the actions. Allah is about science. Allah is about reality. You know what I mean? Not these little fantastical worlds that we live in. And we just don't know, because so often, we take shahada for all types of reasons, you know what I mean? And the same way we don't know things and have to learn them, it's the same for our husbands. But if we keep giving them these how do you say, if we keep allowing them to be oppressive, then unfortunately the majority of men, it seems to me, in almost 50 years on this earth, the majority of men are going to take that oppressive route. They just are, even if they don't realize they're being oppressive, because societies are just very commonly are oppressive to women, and societies very commonly have women who allow oppression. So it's like in society, we go from one extreme to the next. We're either going to be, oppressed and, accepted in our time to get out. We're going to go way over there and just start wilding, you know what I mean? So there's a whole gray area. And we need to find our place within this deen in relation to Allah, in my opinion, and not in relation to our husbands or our children or what people think we should be and how people think we should do. The guidelines are there. They are perfect guidelines, and but we have to learn what they are, stop resisting what's natural order, and our lives can be so much better. Believe that. So, bye. I gotta go to class.